Do you believe in miracles? Maybe you're struggling with finances or health or relationship or your career, and you would love to see a miracle. It is possible. All you have to do is believe and trust. Gina knew what it was like to have a bad day. She knew what it was like to be living a nightmare. She was dealing with a brain tumor for over 10 years and facing brain surgery. There were days where she couldn't even get out of bed because she had such horrible migraine headaches and she was vomiting from all the pain. And her wrists were in braces, being swollen from all the medication. But she had her miracle healing in 2004. And she is here today to tell you about that miraculous healing. Hi, I'm Sherry Nichols, and I want to welcome you to The Miracle in You, a show that is dedicated to bringing you hope and inspiration, providing you with miraculous stories from people just like you and I from all over the world who have gone through tragedy, who have gone through drama and trauma and obstacles and heartbreak and overcome their tragedies to really be living a thriving life. Today, Gina is going to share with us her miraculous journey. So let's welcome Gina Eubank, all the way from Texas.
Hello. It is so incredibly great to be here with you and your audience and to talk about miracles, one of my favorite subjects. I love miracles. They happen every day if we're awake to see them.
Exactly. So Gina, I would love to just dive right in. I mean, you had really such, as I said, a dire diagnosis. I would love you to share with us your journey and tell us a little bit about that diagnosis and how your miracle occurred and why it was a miracle for you.
Okay, I would love to share my miracle because it's my hope that this miracle will help you and your audience to know that they have the tools, that they can receive their miracle too. So first, if you'll get in a time machine with me, and I'm going to take you back to December 13th, 2003. And life looked very, very different then. If you'll imagine, if you ever watched the TV show Bewitched, I'm dating myself a little bit here. So if you'll put yourself in my kitchen, floating up in there and observing, and you'll see me, and I'm in my flannel jammies. I'm all alone. I'm divorced. I have slippers on, so I'm scooching. I have braces on both wrists. I have carpal tunnel syndrome. I'm on 11 prescription drugs. I have a brain tumor, and the drugs aren't working. And the drugs are causing all the swelling in my hands. And I have a migraine, and I'm in a horrible pain. My vision is blurred, and all of a sudden I'm so incredibly nauseous, and I dash to the sink, and I lean over, and I'm just vomiting, and tears are streaming down my face, and I just keep vomiting, and I go to grab a glass that's next to the sink to take a sip to wash my face. To rinse my mouth. And I drop the glass because I can't feel it. With the carpal tunnel syndrome, you can't feel what's in your hand, and it shatters on the floor. And I get down on my hands and knees, and I'm picking up those shards of glass, and my hands are bleeding. And because I can't feel the glass, and I'm just making a bigger mess, and I'm in so much pain, and I just lean against the cabinet and just sit down and just sob, put my hands in my face and just literally just sob and cry. Because how on earth is this my life? And how has 10 years gone by and I'm facing brain surgery? This is what the doctors are telling me, that this is, the next step. And, I didn't want brain surgery. I had asked the doctors, I trusted them for 10 years and I'd only gotten worse. And I asked the doctors, I said, with this surgery, is there any chance that someone could be feeding me applesauce afterwards. Could they make a mistake? And they said, well, it's rare, and I said, is there a chance? And he said, well, of course, anytime you go in the brain. And I was like, ugh. So I didn't want surgery. And in that moment on the kitchen floor, as I was sitting there and I was crying, I heard this voice, and I heard, we can do this, Gina.
Mhm.
And I thought of in the Bible where Jesus says to the invalid, will you be healed? Then pick up your bed and walk.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, it's time. I hear the whisper. It's time for me to pick up my bed and walk. We are going to do this together. And, it started this whole healing journey. And what that looked like, it wasn't pretty as it all came together. But I learned, and this is what I want each one of you to please, as you're with me on this journey, listen to that small, still voice, hear the whisper, and I call it do the do when you take action. And so I started detoxing myself. I completely changed everything that I ate. My life was on the line. I thought, Psh, I've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Like, let's go for it. So I changed what I ate. I became a vegan. I juiced. I did colon hydrotherapy. I did infrared sauna. Of course, I wrote a vision of my healing and what that would look like, to be walking through the grass barefoot, just to be in the ocean, to not have the braces on, to just be splashing, in the water. And, I meditated, and there were days when, as you're tapering off 11 prescription drugs, you don't feel well. So there were days when I was laying on the floor in the bathroom with my face against the tile and more vomiting. It wasn't pretty as it all came together. But the point is, I stayed the course. From December 13th, 2003, just moved forward 8 months to August 2004, completely healed.
Completely healed.
Yes.
In 8 months, Gina, that is, woo, phenomenal. So you had dealt with this for 10 years, and it wasn't getting better. And the common option that the medical community was giving you, as they saw it, was to have surgery. But you took it into what I'm understanding you saying is that you didn't want to take the risk, and you heard the voice that said, will you be healed?
Yes.
So that what I think is so powerful for each of you listening is the listening, not to be drawn in and just following what the outside community is saying. Not that there's not value in that, because oftentimes there is. But what I heard you say, Gina, is that you heard something different within. And what you heard within was what led you to your healing. So bravo for you for listening to that voice within. Oh my gosh. And that's the key, that there is that power within if we just stop and listen.
Yeah.
So how was that for you? I mean, that had to be so scary. Was it difficult to make that choice to listen to that voice within? Was there a part of you that doubted what you were hearing and that thought, oh, I don't know, should I just go with what I'm being told? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that might hear that voice, but then question it.
Yes. Thank you for asking. Yes. Before that moment in the kitchen, there was lots of doubt. And, I want to invite you and your listeners to, in every situation, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. And if I would have thought about this back then, I wouldn't have stayed stuck in the middle so long. And I would have tuned into that voice. And the phrase I love to say, and what helped me, is hear the whisper, do the do. Hear
Mm.
the whisper, do the do. But when you're in the middle of it and you don't utilize tools, you're in what I call the 10-finger spread, because you're in reaction mode. And you have all these experts saying, you must, you must. And, the logical part of my brain was like, you guys have tried and recommended for 10 years, and I'm only worse. And so listening to that small, still voice, that whisper. And so by being quiet and being in that moment,
Mm.
that's when I heard it.
Mm.
And after I made that decision, then how I navigated it forward in those moments when it didn't look pretty is there's a practice that I'd love to do. And I'd love to take you through it. It'll just take it.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. So what you do is you put your hands on your heart, both your hands on your heart, and you shut your eyes. And you just stay present and feel, literally put it over that left part, your heart, and feel your heartbeat. And just tune into that you can't make your heart beat, that there is a power greater than us making our heartbeat, and we can't make it stop.
Mhm.
And just that knowing that that power is so much greater than us. So feel that. And then the next step, after you're completely plugged into that, then in that energy, inhale, and we're going to inhale, and then we're going to exhale. And as we're exhaling, we're going to say, thank you 5 times on the exhale. So let's inhale together through our nose. Exhale. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's inhale again. Exhale. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. One more time. Inhale through your nose. Exhale. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And notice how you feel right now. Just feel your heart. Feel your nervous system. You feel calmer. You've moved out of that fight or flight in your brain. You're in the rest, digest, the create mode, where you can hear the whisper. You can, that small, still voice, this is how you can turn up that volume on that small, still voice. And so if everyone will open their eyes.
Mm. Gina, that was incredible.
Mm.
And if I can share what I felt tonight, it it's almost making me cry. I mean, there are tears forming because of ah, um, such a connection to the truth of who you are, such a connection to God's magic within, and absolute peace.
Mm.
And in addition to peace, gratitude and love, a beautiful swirling of all of that. So this is, and I hope that you all felt it out there as you went through this as well, because what a beautiful tool to be able to use. This is something that people can use any time, any day. So Gina, share, is this what you used, your tool, as you were during those 8 months, as you were going through your healing journey?
Yes, very much. And here's the other part. So I would do this, and I would do it, you're saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do 5 sets of it. Okay. So I'm a big fan of sticky or catchy things to help my mind form a vision around it, or an image. And so I would finish and I'd imagine like I was giving God a high 10, like, let's do this.
I love it. Yeah, that's great.
Let's do this. We've got this. God, thank you for the message. Because all I needed to know in that moment was my next step. You know, I didn't have to have it all figured out. And that's what I invite everybody out there, you know, whether you're at the beginning of the story or the middle of the situation, whether it's relationships, whether it's health, whether it's financial, your career, just by just knowing that one next baby step, that's one baby step at a time, will get you up Mount Everest and move you to the end of that situation. But just because, you know, by me not being aware of all this, I stayed stuck in the middle of that story, that situation for 10 years. And that's what I invite everybody out there, is just to stay present, go inward, notice that power greater than you breathing, and you'll hear the whisper, and then you can do the do.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other tool that I would do, Sherry, is you can change your focus and your state and your energy really easy, not only with that gratitude practice, but if you want to generate energy, I would turn on music and I would dance. And because exercise wasn't really in the cards during that time, you know, I could walk and things like that, but as far as anything rigorous, but that was a fun way that I could dance. And with movement, the great thing about movement is it sweeps the cortisol, which is your stress hormone, that fight or flight, out of your body, the excess of that hormone, and it boosts your feel-good chemicals, which, by irony, I'm a pharmacist by education. And so during this time, I was a pharmacist. So it was really unpopular for me to, you know, choose this way of not going the Western route. But with this, the point of this is, with this exercise, by sweeping that cortisol out of your body, and exercising, you naturally raise the feel-good chemicals, dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. So when you go to a pharmacy, and let's say you were to, you know, get a prescription filled for an antidepressant, they would be raising those three: the dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. And you can do it naturally through movement and exercise. And so I utilize that tool to sweep that stress hormone out of there, and then do that practice of feeling my heart and the thank you, thank you, thank you. So I could hear that whisper, and then take that next action step and just stay the course.
So Gina, I love this. And so what I love about it too is that because I love sound, so music, not only with the movement, but the sound, everything about our moods, everything has an energy to it. And so as you're playing, obviously you're choosing music that you love, that's uplifting, that's helping you to uplift your energy as well. And when you're in that state, you're naturally able to connect with more creative ideas, because, as was it Einstein that said, you can never solve a problem at the level of consciousness that was created. So rising, what you're sharing with us and what you can all do out there is follow what Gina's telling you, and you will get yourself up out of the thoughts that go with where you're currently at, so that you can have a broader, bigger perspective and have more creative thoughts and ideas that will help to move you forward. But I had a question about when you said to do the do, because, you know, in indicating that you were getting action steps, baby steps every day. Were you asking what to do next, or because I think this is important too for everybody listening as well, you know, were you just hearing that, or what would you recommend so people know? Because I'm sure everybody would love to take an action step, maybe they just don't know how. So how were you gaining access to that knowledge of that action step?
Well, I was doing copious research. So if I would hear, oh, Gina, go Google this, or Gina, in the grocery store, go pick this up.
Okay.
And, you know, an example, you know, and I invite everybody to become familiar with this small, still voice. And so I gamified it with myself to really turn up my intuition. And so, like, I'm pulling in a parking lot that's packed, And I'd call in the angels and I'd be like, okay, God, we're going to help me find a parking spot, and then I'd find one, up at the front, and I'd celebrate, and I'd be so happy, just that gratitude, and, asking, where are my keys? Where are my keys? And you'd hear on the kitchen counter, being in the grocery store, and you're in front of the avocados, and, there's mushy ones and there's hard ones. And you're like, okay, where's the good one? And then you hear, go to the avocado in the back, 3 back, 1 under. And then you find it. It was just like winning the lottery to practice this muscle of listening to that small, still voice. So I would utilize it in just every area that I possibly could, asking. So it was this dialogue I was having back and forth. And then I would say, okay, what foods do you think I should eat? And then I'd hear, well, go look this up, or buy this. And then, how do you feel? And I would literally have this dialogue, and there's a roommate that lives in our brain. And, it could be negative Nelly, that's telling us all these reasons why something won't work. And so that's when, I would do that practice. I would move first, to get negative Nelly, like, 1 moment, please, you over there. Because I didn't want her giving me solutions. I wanted the direct channel. I wanted to be connected.
Out of the room.
She needed to, 1 moment, please. You need to get over there and flip it around, honey. I do not make agreement with what you're saying. And then to be able to connect to spirit and hear the voice. And, that voice, that negative Nelly, it's a paradigm. It's just a belief system and an operating system where it's there to protect us, but it doesn't help us see the land of solutions. And so by instilling a new operating system, new beliefs, that you can hear the whisper, and that you do have this dialogue going on, and trusting that all you need to know is just that one next baby step.
Yeah, exactly.
And then celebrate that baby step. And then more is revealed, that celebration part after you receive that step. Even if, I had reduced the medication, and, because I had a strategy on how I would reduce it. And that came from me being a pharmacist, knowing how to do that. Because I didn't tell my doctors I was doing this, because they would think I was absolutely bonkers. And, I wanted to go back when I was completely healed and be like, ta-da, so that's because I didn't want them to activate negative Nelly. That wasn't an option.
Right. Well, that's very smart. Oftentimes when we're going through something, that you bring up a great point, Gina, that I think is really important for everyone, is be discerning with who you seek counsel from.
Yes, very much so. And, people surrounding you, they can say some negative things. And so being very careful about who you share what you're doing with, because I didn't tell everybody what I was doing, because many people would have thought I was nuts. And a lot of my peers were from the medical community, and they would not have understood. And, they had gone to school, they had been trained, and it wasn't logical to do what I did. But I heard the whisper, and I just knew that I wasn't going to have brain surgery until the good Lord and I had exhausted every resource that I could possibly hear or see, and that I would know if it was time to have surgery. Wow. That was the agreement that I made with myself.
Okay. And what I also am hearing you say, Gina, that's really important too, is that you trusted yourself, and you trusted that voice within, and you didn't waver from that, not allowing anybody outside of yourself to impact that decision. You stayed true to it. And I think that's a really, really important point here. So why was this miracle? I mean, for obvious reasons, it was important for you, but was there anything else that was really like really impacted your life as far as having this miracle occur for you? Why was it so important? How did it impact you, Gina, after that? Because also, how long has it been now since you, have been, in this healed state?
16 years.
Woo! Oh my gosh, 16. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Oh, Gina, that's so awesome. That is so awesome.
Thank you.
So share the impact with us, and if there's anything else that was really significantly important, and why it was important for you.
Well, the impact, oh my goodness, where do I begin with that? So after my healing, with the company that I worked with at the time, where I was a pharmacist, they invited me to be their health and wellness expert. And so I ended up doing PR for that company, and I ended up being able to serve and help so many people. I was on CBS on Great Day Houston, a live TV show, and I was their expert. And it was so much fun. We'd have over a 250,000 people on the show, more, maybe it was more, 500, I don't know how many. Houston, fourth largest city in the US. But the fun part was the host, I'd do segments on there where I'd have her taking wheatgrass shots and, showing all these, produce, and we'd talk about disease states. And we would talk about, here's the way I look at medication is that medication is meant to get you out of crisis mode. So if somebody's having a heart attack, we're not going to mist you with wheatgrass and just pray over you. I mean, medication has a use. I want to be very clear on that. And then once you have somebody move out of crisis mode, then you work on the plan with them to help them solve the root problem, get to the root of it. And so that's what the segments where we would focus. And so there were lots of people that were helped and healed through, my healing. And, needless to say, I feel like that the reason God gave me this miracle is for me to pay it forward. And I'm meant to share, to listen to that small, still voice, even when it's unpopular, when it's, it could be regarding a relationship. It could be regarding a career. It could be something financial, something health, but it's to listen to that voice and trust and faith. And then the other thing, since then I'm no longer a practicing pharmacist. I retired from doing that in December of 2014, and been able to impact more people through coaching and helping them with their health. And I have a colonel that he was in the military, in the Army for 26 years, and he broke his neck in August of 2019. And he's 71, and he was very lucky to be alive. He flipped his truck. He was on a construction site, and I worked with him, and we held the vision. And the place where he had the wreck, he said, Gina, they're never going to, he was all concerned, they're never going to want me back on that construction site. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, Colonel, I understand you're very concerned about your work, and let's focus on your health first. So we had him up walking 2.5 miles within 2 weeks.
Incredible.
And
Incredible.
then he worked himself up to 4 miles. And since then, he's lost, let me do the math here. He's lost about 45 pounds, and his blood work is outstanding. And his relationships, I mean, just what he says today is that he's the happiest that he's ever been in his life.
Hmm.
And, when you can go to my website and you can see a picture of him there, and you can see that, my goodness, he looks like he's in his 50s and he looks incredible. And fast forward July of this year, 2020, he received a contract with the company that he flipped his vehicle on, and he is the exclusive drone provider with his company for that, and received a very large contract for that. And so it all worked out for the colonel. And there's so many other stories.
What a great success story, Gina. And for anybody who would love to reach out to you, where can they find you?
The easiest is GinaEubank.com. You can go to my website there. You can find me on Instagram, Gina Eubank. You can find me on Facebook, but all the links are right there on the website. So I would love to support and help every one of you out there to be able to turn up the volume and to hear the whisper and do the do, and you truly create and design the life you would love living. Because remember, yesterday's history, tomorrow's the mystery. Today is truly a gift.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Gina. And I thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing your really amazing, phenomenal, miraculous journey. And for any of you listening, I hope that you have gleaned so much. Gina, you've been so generous with sharing the steps and with providing us with the gratitude tool and with the movement and listening to the music tool, and steps that you have taken to get you to, oh my gosh, look at you. You are glowing and gorgeous. And look at her. She is just, your picture could be in the dictionary under vibrant health. I mean, you are just so, I'm dating myself with the dictionary, but you are the epitome of you're just a really glowing, sparkling, beautiful, healthy, vibrant woman. So Gina, you have been so generous with sharing your journey. Is there any final word that you would like to share with our viewers today?
Yes, I want each one of you to know out there that you are the creator of your life. It's not your job to be the manager of the circumstances of your life. You can create anything you want. God wants you to receive that miracle. God wants you to be happy, to live that dream life. God wants you to hear those whispers and for you to do the do. And while you're in the middle, like any movie, any situation, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end. And so as you're navigating that, if you'll just keep the mantra, this too shall pass. This is what it looks like as it's all coming together. And to have that vision of where you want to go and utilize that tool with utilizing your breathing and exhaling that thank you. Practice finding your keys, finding that great avocado, practice listening to that intuition, and just know you're so much greater than any circumstance, and your miracle is right there. It's for you. And I just, if I could grab it for you, I would, and just serve it up. But God wants you to have it. Have a beautiful day and seize your miracle.
Thank you, Gina. That was incredible. So the same, and I just so thank you for being here and sharing all of that with us. And for those of you, I want to thank you for those of you watching and being here with us. And I want you to know that the same is possible for you. The same is possible for you. And my intention is that you would absolutely be able to have your own miracle, and whatever that is for you. As Gina said, it's not just for Gina in Texas. It's not just happening in that part of the world. This doesn't matter, woman, man, whatever age you are, whatever socioeconomic situation you're in. It's just about tapping in to that magic power within, and you have it. It's God's magic. I call it your diamond power. And for those of you who are interested in connecting more to it, I have created a special gift for you to help you connect, to God's magic so that you can have your own miracle because you deserve it. You so deserve it. All you have to do is go to diamondpowertv.com and you'll have instant access to it. And for those of you watching who may have experienced a miracle, or you know somebody who has had a miracle in their life, we would love to hear about it. You can also share with us, reach out to us, same site, diamondpowertv.com, and we would love to hear your miracle. In the meantime, Gina, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your incredible journey, your miraculous time. And for all of you listening, believe in the miracle in you. Bye now.
Thank you, everybody. So grateful for you.